Church. You can turn to Luke chapter 5. Hey Tom, since you're up, would you mind getting the lights for the video? I have a video. We're going through some of these commercials for the summer, and so this one's kind of dark in color, not dark like an evil. So we're going to show this one real quick, if we can.
Begin with raw steel. Shape it with fire, muscle, and sweat. Polish it to razor-sharp perfection. We're looking for a few good men with the metal to be Marines.
Right, this is a commercial that's from like the 80s. I don't know if you can tell, but it's been a long time ago that commercial's on. And really, the Marines have another motto that works well. So the few, the proud. And I think they really hit the nail on the head, especially in our culture, because there's two things that are accurate in those commercials. One, people are still looking for good men. Marine Corps, women, are always looking for good men. I went to Bible college. Guess why a lot of women go to Bible college? To find good men. Or you have a thing, the ring by spring. What does it say? It's a walk to remember by September. All right?
A kiss to remember by December.
A kiss, first kiss by Christmas, that's what it was. And then a ring by spring. That's what Ozark's all about. All right? I don't know if you noticed that, but many students come out of Ozark married. If they don't, then there's problems. But it's because people are looking for good men. And I think it's fitting that this day and a day we recognize fathers, we talk about finding good men. In Luke chapter 5, we see a neat story. We sing songs about the story. And so we're going to read it. Chapter 5, verses 1 through 11. It says this: One day, as Jesus was standing by the lake of Gennesaret, with the people crowding around him and listening to the word of God, he saw at the water's edge 2 boats left there by the fishermen who were washing their nets. He got into one of the boats, and the one belonging to Simon, and asked him to put out a little from shore. Then he sat down and taught the people from the boat. When he had finished speaking, he said to Simon, "Put out to deep water and let down the nets for a catch." Simon answered, "Master, we worked hard all night and haven't caught anything, but because you say so, I will let down the nets." When they had done so, they caught such a large number of fish that their nets began to break. So they signaled their partners in their other boat to come and help them, and they came and filled both boats so full they began to sink. When Simon Peter saw this, he fell at Jesus' knees and said, "Go away from me, Lord, I am a sinful man." For he and all of his companions were astonished at the catch of fish they had taken. And so were James and John, the sons of Zebedee, Simon's partners. Then Jesus said to Simon, "Don't be afraid. From now on you will catch men." So they pulled their boats up on shore, left everything, and followed him. We're looking for good men. But guess what? You'll do. That's the whole idea of today's message. We're looking for good men, but guess what? There aren't very many men who are good automatically. It takes time. Jesus sees Peter, and he sees his brother Andrew, he sees James and John. He sits in Peter's boat and says, "Peter, push off shore a little bit. I got to teach these people something." So he teaches them. We don't know what he says to them necessarily. But he says, "We're going to teach." And then when he's done teaching, he says amen. He sits down, or he tells Peter, "Let's go a little deeper. I want you to cast your nets again." What's Peter's reply? He answers him, "Master, we've worked hard all night. We worked hard all night, Jesus, and we haven't caught a thing. But because you say so, I will. You see, good men do this. Good men obey the master. Let's be honest. Good men obey Jesus. And that's a lot easier said than done. It's easy to say, hey, I'll do whatever Jesus says, but to really do what he says takes a lot of effort and discipline. To pray without ceasing is not easy. To love your neighbor as yourself, to turn the other cheek, these are things men are not taught to do regularly. Growing up, I always heard if someone punches you, you get the last punch. That's what I was taught. You get the last punch, right? So you get it. You finish it. Yes, sir. That's what I'll do. If I ever get punched, which I never did, I'll get the last one and then run away. All right. That's what happens. I punch and I leave. That's the game. That's how it works. No, that's what I was told. You get the last punch. Of course, my mother said, don't fight anybody. It's not very nice. I know what Mom says. I know what Dad says. But Jesus says, love your neighbors, love your enemies, love those, and turn the other cheek. A lot easier said than done. Good men obey the master. Peter had been fishing all night long, trying to catch fish, never caught a thing. He's cleaned his nets, and the idea of cleaning the nets was you take your net and you had to get all the crud off your nets. And these weren't just little nets like this. These are big nets, huge nets that boats would pull together. So these nets were huge and dirty and wet. He had to make sure they dry well so they could be used later. And so he's tired. He's working all night, fishing, pulling the nets around. I'm done. I'm cleaning it. No more fish guts. No more little other seaweed or whatever might have been picked up by the net. Jesus, please. I don't want to put out again. I don't want to throw that out there. I got to clean it all over again. But Jesus, because you said so, I will. When was the last time you told Jesus, because you said so, I will? Think about it for a second. What does Scripture say? What have you read where Jesus commands something of you? Jesus says things that are very hard. But good men, they obey Jesus. They obey the Master. And Peter does. And when he does, good things happen. When good men obey the Master, good things follow. When the good men obey the Master, marriages are healed. When good men obey the Master, children are loved. These are true things that I've seen. I'm sure you've seen as well. When good men obey the Master, good things happen. Revival takes place in the heart of those who obey the Master. Another thing that happens, good men fear the Master. It goes on, when they had done so, verse 6, when they had done so, they caught such a large number of fish that their nets began to break. So they signaled their partners in the other boat to come and help them, and they came and filled both boats so full they began to sink. When Simon Peter saw this, he fell at Jesus' knees and said, "Go away from me, Lord, I am a sinful man." Church, when was the last time you fell at the knees of Jesus and cried out in mercy because you were a sinful person? We talked about that this morning in class a little bit. When was the last time you actually repented of the things you did? When was the last time you stood back and said, you know what, Jesus, I'm a horrible person. I lie, I cheat, I steal, I think bad things. I don't deserve your mercy. I don't deserve your love. Good men fear the Master. When they pull in this load of fish, Peter falls at the knees of Jesus. In the boat. Fish everywhere. I'm sorry, Jesus. You have to leave me, Jesus. I don't belong here. There's nowhere for us to go. We're in a boat in the middle of the sea. We can't go over. God, I can't be here with you. You are too awesome for me. I am a terrible person. I find solace in knowing that I'm not the only terrible person that exists. It's good to know that some of you out there, whether you will admit it or not, you're terrible too. But we're forgiven by the same God. I'm glad. Because if I was the only one that was terrible, then I wouldn't and shouldn't be up here. But because we're all sinful, we're all flawed, I can say that good men fear the Master. When was the last time you were afraid. You had a respect for Jesus. Solomon says similar words at the end of his Ecclesiastes. He says, here's the duty of all man, to fear God and follow his commands. This is exactly what's going on here. Ecclesiastes says it. The whole purpose of man is simple. Fear God. Peter shows a lot of fear here. Wouldn't you be scared if you fished all night long and all of a sudden Jesus says, just throw your net one more time, and you pull in such a load of fish that you can't pull it in yourself? As a matter of fact, there's so much fish that you have to bring another boat on the job. And so much fish that even the other boat starts sinking because it's so heavy of fish. This is amazing. And because Peter sees this, he knows this is a very amazing man. Another thing that happens is, good men forsake everything for the master. Follows on. Verse 9, for he and all his companions were astonished at the catch of fish they had taken, and so were James and John, the sons of Zebedee, Simon's partners. Then Jesus said to Simon, don't be afraid. From now on you will catch men. So they pulled their boats up on shore, left everything, and followed him. Good men forsake everything for the master. I'm glad Kay brought up that prayer request about Chickasha and its problems. And I don't know if you realize that when we first applied here and told somebody we were coming here, was it your aunt and uncle? First thing they said to us, the first thing, they didn't say, oh, good job, oh, that's great. First thing they said is, why move to Little Chicago? That's the first thing out of their mouth. I'm like, I'm scared of Chicago. So Little Chicago shouldn't scare me either. But that was her first thought, and I said, why would she say that? Why be so discouraging? And I think you know. It is what it is. When in this state, we're like one of the worst counties when it comes to graduation record numbers. We're not so good at that. It's a sad day. Sad things. And I don't know if you look around enough, but there's a lot of broken families. And it hurts. A lot of broken youth. A lot of broken adults. We live in a community, and I know it's not just here. But since we live here, it's pretty important. The good men follow the master. Not only that, but they forsake everything for the master. I say this because I think the biggest problem we have, and I know you have to agree, is good men in our culture. Are there good men in this culture? Yes, there are. The question is, are good men forsaking everything for the master? Not always. You see, good men, their job is very brutal because good men are looked up to. And when good men fail, those who look up to them fail as well. When good men don't do what they're supposed to do, people fail with them. Peter knows, Jesus, you're a good man. I can't be around you because you are too awesome for me to be around. But then Jesus gives him a challenge. Jesus gives him purpose. From now on, you will catch men. Catch men. Women, how hard is it to catch men? For you, not that hard. Women can catch men all day. But for a man to catch a man, it's very interesting. For a man to bring another man to Jesus is interesting. It's a little more difficult than people think it is. But it's valuable. It's worth it. And when good men catch men and help them be good, the chain continues. So my challenge here is very simple for men in this room. Happy Father's Day, yes, but be men. Start with your little ones. We have a lot of kids that come through with this church. Right? You know this. You've seen them. Because sometimes this church building looks really full, and the kids leave. And I see you all. You can't hide behind the kids sometimes. There's so many of them, like an army. But guess what? When kids come to church, they don't just play around. You may think they do, they don't. How many of you, when you were kids, remember people in your church that were just in your church? You remember the older people, you remember the middle-aged people, you remember the younger adults. Ask children. Children look up to people. And so I know when my kids come to church, they see you. They see the men, they see the women. And when they see you at Walmart, they say, oh, that's what they do. They go to our church. That's what they say. They go to our church. They don't know the names all the time, but they know you go to church. Which is a big deal because when they see you, they're going to watch you. What are you doing? What are you buying? How are you acting? What are you saying? Right? Because when my kids see people, they watch. When your kids see people, they watch. When your grandkids see people, they see you. And so in this church, it's a challenge to have good men. Because you never know when you're being looked at. And when good men live good lives who follow Jesus, are fearful of Jesus, and forsake everything to follow Jesus, that's the kind of people I want my children following. That's the truth. And I can't tell you yes or no whether you're doing a great job of that. I want to say yes, but sometimes I want to say no. I'm not lying. I'm not being mean. That's just the honest truth. We're human. We're going to make mistakes. But overall, is your life a total forsaking of all the things you love for Jesus? You see, good men do these three things. They obey the master, they fear the master, and they forsake everything for the master. Peter and his friends left everything. This says they left everything and followed him. So what about that catch? What about a catch that was 2 boatloads of fish? They pulled up on shore and they just say, done, see ya. You guys can have it. Could you imagine that? They could have probably not fished for months and had enough money just to live on. But it said they left everything. It doesn't say they took the fish, went to the market and sold it. It said they just left it there. For what? Just to serve. Just to follow Jesus. You see, church, I hear stories like this often, and I don't know if I could do it. Could I give up everything to follow Jesus to a certain point? A man was making 6 digits in a high office building, 6 digit salary, and one day he comes home and says, honey, I'm done. I quit. She said, what? I quit my job. Why? I want to paint for a living. Paint? You don't ever paint. You've never painted. You never taken any painting classes. Well, I feel like God wants me to paint. Okay? So he quit his job, did his 2 weeks deal, got some severance pay for whatever reasons it was, and here what happened. He started going to his shop and painting. He's not a painter. Well, Christ in Youth, which is the group that does summer conferences, and there's a junior high conferences and all kinds of different youth conferences for Jesus. They see this guy's paintings. They say, we like those paintings. We want to bring you on board, because all his paintings were religious. So he brought him on board, and for like 5 or 6 years now, he's traveled with CLI and now himself painting pictures for Jesus. He gave up 6-digit salary for that. To paint. He's never painted in his life. But God has blessed him. He forsake everything just to do what he thought God wanted him to do. Church, I feel like sometimes we need that kick in the pants to say, you know, whatever Jesus wants, I'm doing it. And I'm not going to tell you that he's going to make you do something outlandish. He may make you do something that's just simple. Like, go talk to your neighbor. He might just say, you know what, I'm gonna stop watching this or listening to this or doing these things that my kids will start picking up. Because the biggest deal, the best thing you could do as a father, as a man, is serve God. I once asked some teenagers, what makes a man good? Or what is a good man? One of the replies was, we talking a Christian man or a regular man? I thought, well, that's a pretty good question to ask. And then I realized that's not even a question to ask. Because the difference is, good men should always be Christian. You can say, well, there's good men that don't love Jesus. No, they're not. To be honest, there's no good men that don't love Jesus. Every good man should love Jesus. You can argue with me all day long. But in the end, a good man will lead people to eternal life. I don't care what else you give me. I don't care what else you give my kids when you see them. But if you're not leading them to follow Jesus more closely, you're not a good man. That's just the truth. And women, you're not off the hook. All these things apply to you. If you're not leading my daughter to a better relationship with Jesus, you're not a good woman. I'm sorry. That's the truth. So here we are. Disciples leave their boats for everything. You know what happens to Peter, right? Peter has this rocky relationship with Jesus for 3 years. He denies Jesus. And he still gets to be the one Jesus puts ahead of the church. And then he's hung upside down on a cross. You know why he's upside down on the cross? Because he refused to let anything else get in the way of his love for Jesus. And they said, we're going to hang you on the cross. He said, you will not hang me like my Jesus. You'll hang me upside down. I don't care which way you do it. You're not putting me like Jesus. I am not Jesus. You see, church, good men obey the master. They fear the master. They forsake all things for the master. Our culture has done a good job of telling us what we need. Our culture does a good job of telling us what we should pursue. But Jesus says, pursue me. I give you good food to eat and good drink to drink. I give you life and life to the fullest. I give you life abundantly. Church, men, fathers, women, mothers, your life should be like Jesus. How? Figure it out. It's here. You want your life to be better, you read it. I can tell you all day. Whatever I want to tell you. But you read this. This is a guide to make good men. This is a guide to make good women. And finally, men, Paul says it several times, you lead women. I'm sorry if that offends some people. God made Adam first to be a leader. You could say he failed. Then he made the second Adam, Jesus. He led everybody. He didn't fail. He succeeded. Church, we need to put out good men. This church ought to be a good man factory. That's what it ought to be. And a good woman factory, where everybody that walks out these doors, from little ones to big ones, they should be good people. Good people are people that lead other people to Jesus. That's a good person. So forsake all things and follow Jesus. Let's pray. Father God, thank you for everything. God, and I apologize for my life. I apologize for mistakes. And sometimes there's things I do that I don't realize are wrong. Not always. God, forgive my thoughts. Forgive my actions. Forgive those here as well. Forgive those here that don't want to let go of their past. That don't want to let go of their sin. And God, I pray that you lead them to let go. God, I pray that these men here, these women here, strive to follow you in all they do. That as parents and grandparents, their number one concern is whether or not their child knows Jesus. And I don't mean knows about him, but knows Jesus so much that all they want to do is please him. It's my prayer. That love grows and abounds in all things. That they forgive those around them. And they share Jesus wherever they go. In Christ's name I pray. Amen. Please stand and sing our invitation song. If you're here and you need this Jesus, you want to be a good man or a good woman, and you're just not there yet, and you need Jesus to finish the job, don't be afraid to come forward.